So sweet, I love it.
That smells great.
Yes, I like it.
Hey, if you want to draw something, the one thing you're going to use most is a line. Drawing crispy lines isn't as easy as it looks. That's why I'm going to share 3 exercises that help you develop line confidence.
Show me.
Many beginning artists think that professional artists wake up, sit behind their desk and instantly draw something like this without much trouble. But you're wrong. Just like professional athletes need a little bit of warm-up before a high-stake game, professional artists need a little bit of warm-up before a high-stake drawing, which brings us to the first exercise, a warm-up. And a warm-up can look as simple as this, or this. It might sound stupid, just draw some lines, but the advantage of this simple task is that it lowers your expectations. Because often the opposite happens when we sit down to draw. We want to create something beautiful. But forcing yourself to create something beautiful raises your expectations and kills the creativity and fun in drawing. So the first thing we want to do is lower those expectations. And just getting some lines on the paper, no matter what they look like, does exactly that. And when we talk about lines, I want to make a distinction between 4 types of lines. There are short, medium, big, and massive lines. Now there are way more different lines than this, but I make a distinction in the muscles we use when drawing these lines. Short lines are drawn with the fingers because they need precision. Medium lines are drawn with the wrist for a bit more range. Big lines are drawn with the elbow, and huge lines are drawn with the shoulder, the biggest muscles for the biggest lines. When I started out, I never thought about using different muscles for different types of lines. But each line you draw has a different character or value for your drawing. Let me show you an example of a landscape drawing. Putting down the initial composition and design is done best with some big strokes using the shoulder. But as we progress, we'll start to work on smaller elements, in this case the house, the design of the mountain, and foreground. These require a tad more precision and is easier done with the elbow or wrist. And the details, like the texture of the wood or trees, requires extreme precision and is done best with the fingers. Using different muscles isn't just good for your line quality, but also for being able to keep up with your drawing. And you kind of want to match the character of your line with where you are in the process of your drawing. In the beginning, you want to focus on the expression of your drawing. Using rough strokes drawn with the shoulder is just easier. But as you progress, the character of your lines will become more specific, and you can switch to smaller muscles, better for details. But beginning artists aren't aware of this. They draw everything using their fingers and hand. They draw big lines using small muscles, which means you'll end up with something like this. A bunch of small lines stuck together to create a bigger line, also known as scratchy or hairy lines. If we compare this drawing to the one with line variety, you'll see that the left one feels very flat. There's no depth at all, but the right one feels more alive and like the start of something. Drawing is a physical activity that shouldn't be done with just your fingers or hand, but with your whole arm and body. But how do we apply this to something like this? Let's say you want to close this gap and just need to draw a short line. Then don't do this. Don't start here, but a bit further back. And then aim your line, drawing it in the same angle as the initial one. This is also known as ghosting and is the second exercise I want to share with you. Ghosting is a technique where you think about the angle of your line before drawing it. Here you see me place down 2 dots and I'm hovering over the paper before I actually draw the line. In this case, you're feeling the line before you're actually drawing it. I know this might sound very new age, but I think this is the difference between writing and drawing. When we go to school, we're taught to use pen for writing. And honestly, that's the only way we're taught to use a pen. Writing requires precision and details for which the fingers work best. Hence, we associate a pen with using our fingers. But like mentioned before, we can use a pen with our fingers, wrist, elbow and shoulders. And we can also hold it in different ways. You can hold a pen in a close grip, a long grip, or even the overhand grip. Now the last one is mostly used for working with charcoal or a piece of graphite. But a colleague of mine uses this grip when working with markers. The point I'm trying to make is that as artists, we should step away from a writing mindset towards a drawing mindset. During a writing mindset, we hold the pen in a close grip, use it for precision because we need to draw small symbols, But during a drawing mindset, we might change our grip, use the pen for precision and rough strokes, and draw whatever we want. In other words, drawing is totally different from writing, in that it requires more flexibility. And we haven't really been taught how to draw confident lines, which brings us back to ghosting. While ghosting, you're not just feeling a line, but you're actually aiming your line before drawing it. A nice trick can be to put down 2 dots and name them A and B before ghosting your line. And if you want to challenge yourself, you can put down multiple dots A, B and C, forcing you to curve your line. You might not hit your target the first time like me, but you're intentionally making lines instead of just putting something on the paper. By now you're probably thinking, wow, there's whole science behind drawing lines. And I want to take that one step further. Because earlier we found you can use different types of lines for different phases of a drawing. And you can also switch your grip for those lines. I would even go as far to say that for details or small movements, you're going to use a close grip. But for bigger lines, you're going to switch to a long grip or even the overhand grip. Because small movements for details like facial features require a close grip. But bigger movements like the silhouette are easier done with a long grip because you get to be more indicative. And an overhand grip is used mostly for working on a bigger piece of paper or a whiteboard. Now this isn't exact science, but I'm trying to show you that drawing is different from writing in that it's more a physical activity. If there's one thing you can take away from this video, just try to explore it. You have to let it all go.
Fear, doubt, and disbelief. Free your mind.
Which brings us to the third and final exercise. I call it the Wheel of Pain, an exercise to identify your weak spots. We start by drawing a big circle and ghosting lines from one side to the other while going through the middle. We do this without rotating our paper. This will show us that some angles are quite easy, but others are actually quite challenging. You can see that lines in this blue zone are packed nicely together and have a great line quality, which is logical since I am right-handed. This angle is easy for me. But these lines are flaring a bit more and not as nicely together. The lines in this red zone are less confident. It's okay to have angles that don't work, but if you need to rotate your paper for every line, you're making it kind of hard for yourself. We need to at least feel comfortable to draw lines in different angles. Just like Neo in the Matrix trains to master Kung Fu, we aspiring artists need to train to master the line. Now, if you like this video and you feel the need to further develop yourself, you might want to join the Mannequin challenge, a 3-week course in which I show you how to draw the figure from imagination. If this sounds interesting, check the link in the description or head over to my website dr.Draw.cc. But for now, I want to thank you for watching this video. Hit the like button, share your thoughts in the comments below, and most importantly, stay diggity drawing. Adios! I want to make a distinction. Oh my, I forgot. With the wrist. Require.
I have totally lost my track.